Okay, you can kind of consider this to be a part two of Eye to Eye, the song lyrical review. Now, I did this as a group uh, set of songs, and I did the review to this song kind of quickly. It was about a 3 minute coverage because somebody was coming. But the Lord brought me back, one, to the space that I had, and two, to have the ability to go back through the song. And it was something important that I was about to miss that I feel that needed to be expounded upon, and I kind of rushed through it. And now that I got the space back, I'm going to take this time to break this down and allow the Lord to really speak what he wanted to say, because I was rushed in that moment. So I'm going to speak this out the way that he desires. Lord, give me the words to really gain the understanding, because there's some revelation in here that I think he thought that I was going to miss if I didn't come back here. So we started off with, if a wall should come between us. The Ephesians 2:14 talks about the middle wall of partition. It says in the Message Bible, but don't take any of this for granted. It was only yesterday that you were outsiders to God's ways, had no idea of any of this, didn't know the first thing about the way God works, hadn't the faintest idea of Christ, and you knew nothing of that rich history of God's covenant and promises in Israel, hadn't a clue about what God was doing in the world and at large. Now, because of Christ dying the death, shedding the blood for you who were once out of it altogether, are in on everything. The Messiah has now made things up between us, so that we now together on this, both non-Jew outsiders and Jewish insiders, he tore down the wall we use to keep each other at distance. He repealed the law code, become to clogged the fine print of the footnotes, that it hindered more than it helped. Then he started over, instead continuing the two groups of people separated in centuries, animosities, and suspicions. He created a new kind of human being and a fresh start. Which brings me to the fact of, remember, God brought husband and wife back together to be one flesh, meaning that it's almost as if the covenant between husband and wife created a new bond, because you know that Beulah is the land becoming married. When God didn't want covenants or there to be peace, he didn't allow marriages. But now we're seeing a whole slew of marriages coming to pass, and that means that the animosity and suspicion that was originally there, he has destroyed that middle wall of partition, and he's using these marriages to be the manifestation of what he's trying to bring forth in this season. So that wall has been removed. It was too high because of where you were and where your God ordained spouse was. It was too high for you to climb, for you to elevate to the level that your husband was on, and your husband felt it was too high for him to elevate to the spiritual level that you are on. Lisa Marie just released a video within the past 24 hours talking about that that your appearance scares them because it's almost like the way that you carry yourself at finesse has made them feel intimidated. Meaning there's a level that you have, though it's not appearance externally, it's a spiritual thing about you that they feel like they can't elevate or climb through. So it's hard to break through that wall that was there because they don't understand particularly how to get there. Ooh, who did it? Remnant Rising, I believe, released the word where she talked about, was it Remnant Rising? Oh, was it Remnant Rising? Where she, no, I know who it was. It was Tea Time with Jesus. Ari, she did a word called, hold on, let me see if I can find it. It was Tea Time with Ari, and it's the Tea Time with Jesus by Ari L. Sparks. It's a word called prophetic word flow, dream plus revelation plus several other parts. And she talks in this about the communication between you and your spouse and why the communication is seemingly off. And they're speaking in one direction in one language, and you're speaking in another direction in another language, and the middle wall of partition between the two of you has been off. But God is in the midst of it. So she explains that they didn't understand how to talk to you, and you didn't understand how to talk to them. But understanding the love that God has placed in both of your hearts is leading you to one another. And it's finding a way to help bring you. Remember, in the love calls part, he talks about being drawn into your life, being brought into your life, being pulled in. Lord is pulling them into you and you into them. You are in their hearts already. They are in your heart already. You already know this. They ain't been in your life yet. And you know they in your heart. You have already have drank the Kool-Aid, bought the land. You done did it. You're there. But the Lord is saying that there was a level of growth you had to both go through. So don't be in a hurry. A lot of us have been in a hurry to get to where God has shown us that we are supposed to be and go. But God is saying you do not need to hurry to get there. This is what God wanted me to come back for. Aside from what I just said, he needed me to say that a lot of us have been in a hurry to get there. And it's not so much that we've been in a hurry. Some of us have been waiting patiently, but some of us have been frustrated because we felt their frustration and we've been like, I'm frustrated. And for me, I know personally, I'm around some people that, to be honest with you, they frustrate me. And because they frustrate me, that has made me feel frustrated and desiring to want to get to where I'm going. And it's that element. Thank you for Jesus for sending Jolene Whitaker, because Jolene reposted a video from 2.5 years ago talking about, I know these people frustrate you. Be at peace. Don't be in a hurry. There are things that you needed to pick up and gather and things that they need to pick up and gather. Just because physically they don't look like they're dealing with anything, the part that you're seeing is the part that doesn't need any help because they got that part on lock. But that doesn't mean that the rest of their life is in order. Think about yourself. Some of y'all know how to do your assignment and come forth before people and be present. You know. But because of the fact that You know how to present yourself on camera. You know how to present yourself. You've learned how to do this. This is an easy thing for you. But that don't mean the rest of your life look just as easy. It's the same thing for them. So God is bringing it together, but there is no hurry for it. Think before you count out the situation. God has allowed their situation to take the time it has because they've been tying up loose ends. It's so funny. I was just listening to Megan Michelle, and she was talking about the fact that the reason that it's seemingly taken so long is because God's been tying up the loose ends so that all things are in order. A lot of us have been like, oh, the God ordained spouses. No, God's doing that. God's tying up the loose ends to make sure that that situation, that is whatever is in their life, is not going to bother you when they come to you. Same thing with anything going on with you. He's making sure everything is tied up. And it's like the coach was saying in a video that she did a while back, she was saying that, and the words that she said are ringing in my head, that we've been at the end credits. And it's so funny. I was using the tablet feature on my computer, and one of the words on the keyboard was end. We've been at the end for a while. And it's like she was talking about the end credits for something she was looking at were 16 minutes long. And she was like, how come it's taking so long to reach the end? God has shown us that our season was over. It's been done. We crossing into the new thing. It's done. It's complete. And God's like, yeah, but I need you to get the last little bits of whatever it is you need to get out of this season. The same for them. Remember, you're two different people. They got things that they got to finish too. Just because you're done doesn't mean that they got everything in complete sequential order and an alignment. They got to finish up where they're at, and then they can come to you. So it's not a hurry, though God's saying, I don't want you to take your pace. Meaning, some of these men, God, love on my God ordained spouse's soul. Because he publicly has admitted, it takes me a long time to get things done. He said that. I was like, and I know that that's part of it. It's like, because he overthinks. And I get it because I overthink too. But, sometimes the Lord has to send him people that will push him in the right direction. So guess what I pray about? Send him the people that need to push him in the right direction so that he can move a little bit faster. So, yeah. So that's where they're at. So you don't have to worry. They don't want you to worry about it. They know what they're doing. God knows what he's doing. He's in control of this whole situation. If he needed it to move faster, you know how the Lord moves when he wants things to move fast. He operates at 2 speeds. Hurry up and wait. We in the wait season. They in the hurry up season. And what else? I won't ever let you down. They're not going to let you down. I just did a short video that the Lord brought me back to, that these men know the risk of what they almost lost and what they are at risk of losing if they don't come. They know the pace in which they need to come. The Lord is giving them the tactical instructions to how to move at what pace. We got to be patient. The reason our patience is running short is because we've been in this season for a long period of time. They have not been in the season as long as we have, but God has given them the momentum to move at the pace that is a little bit uncomfortable for them. So it's seemingly a little bit faster than they used to. But for us, it's like slow. But God gave me this, and he's bringing this back to me. When you are moving at the speed of light, everything around you seems like it's moving extremely slow. Ever thought about that? I saw an episode of Kim Possible years ago, and she had like super speed, and nobody could see her when she was running. She was running so daggone fast, nobody could see her. But when you saw it from her perspective, everything around her was moving at slow motion. We have moved at a pace that, to us, everything around us seems to be moving at slow motion. But God's trying to say, hey, you do know that you've been moving at lightning speed, right? You've actually been moving faster. And had your God-ordained spouse been moving, he would have had to catch up with you. And spiritually, he's seeing you move at lightning speed. And he's like, can I catch up with her? Because spiritually, you're on lightning speed. Physically, you may not be, but spiritually, you're on lightning speed. So he's trying to say, it's no hurry. Because you're already moving at the pace that you need to be moving at. You've already did everything. You've already gotten to the destination. They coming to meet you halfway. So, and they're just saying, be patient with me. I'm not going to let you down, but you're moving faster than I am spiritually. So I need you to be patient. So if we listen to each other's heart, remember the review I did on Alicia Keys' Listen to Your Heart. Go back and look at it. It's in Songs That Remind Me of You. I do a breakdown on that we'll find we're never too far apart. You are not that far from this person spiritually. You are spiritually operating in a similar space. God showed me this with my shows, that when the guy's character was separated to his own show and the girl's character remained on her show, that if you paid attention to the way that the seasons ran, the guy was going through the same tests that she was going through at the exact same time she was going through them. But his just looked different. Same exact emotional outcome, but it was what he needed to get the result that was needed out of him, and it was what she needed to get the result out of her. Some of us have passed our tests quicker. Some of us went through our experiences through what we had to experience faster. Some of these men, they're just processing it. It's the same, similar thing. God showed me previously that me and my God-ordained spouse were going through tests at the exact same time. It's just our tests didn't look alike. So that's what's been the case with your God-ordained spouse. But it's coming together. You weren't ever that far apart. God used to always show me a God-ordained spouse. And what he showed me was I would be sitting in one place, and then he would have me look, and literally my God-ordained spouse was just outside of my eyesight, meaning just outside of the edge of my peripheral vision, just outside of the image that I could see, just outside. And one time he literally had me, just like I said, sitting at a table right now. I had my hand on the table, and he had my God-ordained spouse lay his hand on the table. He didn't reach over to me or anything. He just laid his hand on the table, and he showed me, the Lord was showing me, this is how close you are. You're not that far apart from one another. Spiritually, you're literally this close. And when I say this close, I mean it wasn't more than 5 inches between us. You're not that far apart. And maybe love is the reason why. The love that the Lord has put in his heart for you, and the love the Lord has put in your heart for him that you cannot explain. Go back and look at Songs That Remind Me of You, LMA's Don't Mess This Up. God put the feelings in your heart. You can't even explain them. For the first time ever, spiritually, God has brought you to a place and brought him to the place that you are now seeing things eye to eye. He understands what you've gone through. You understand what he's been through. What the enemy's trying to do now is bring up past moments from previous relationships to strike fear in your heart. It was so interesting. I was listening to the radio the other day and I turned it on and D.L. Hughley was talking about this. He's like, people are brought into your life and they either weigh you down, lift you up, or it was a third thing that he mentioned. And he said, when you realize what that person is there for, you will compartmentalize them to their appropriate places. But now, between you and your God-ordained spouse, you are seeing things eye to eye. He understands what you had to go through. You understand what he had to go through. But you're trying to wade through the waters of the spiritual distractions, obstructions, delays, hindrances, confusions, all of these kinds of things that are trying to hold up the manifestation of what it is. And the enemy knows he can't come to you. That's why you're actually not experiencing that heavily of warfare in your season. If you are, that means that the Lord's really got to test you. Some of you and some of us have been through that warfare. We don't need that warfare. We got the kitchen sink on that kind of warfare. It's one of those enemy. No, if I throw that at her, it's not going to do anything. It's like throwing